Hello! So, a few days ago, a developer sent me an email called Classic Aircraft Simulations and said they were working on an airplane for Flight Simulator, and would I like to take a look at it on the channel and show the work's done so far. It's not finished, so it's very much a work in progress, but it is nearing completion. So I said, of course I'll take a look at it. So here we have it in the simulator on the ground. I'm going to go and have a little look around it with the camera. You can see the 3D model is wonderful. So this is the J3C-65 Cub. So it's a very early, very basic form of Piper Cub. And we're going to have a look around it. I will say the material modelling on this is very, very good. So if we just come down and look at some of the features around the aircraft. I've not heard of classic aircraft simulations before, so I'm unaware what else they might have done in either Flight Simulator or other simulators. But they certainly know what they're doing in terms of material modelling and 3D structures. It's very, very good. And I know I get some flack sometimes for saying everything's very good, and I do have a bit of a soft spot for developers because I'm a software developer myself, so I know the effort that goes into these things. But look at the patterner on the spinner and the wooden propeller there. It's very, very cool. And the engine block and the texture work done around the covers over the engine. It's really is good, isn't it? Okay, so you can see we've got some custom figures inside the cockpit as well. I often wonder when I see custom figures if they are known to the developers, if they are models of real people, or if they are purchased in and just posed. It always interests me to find that out. Anyway, let's go and have a look inside this airplane. It's worth pointing out, by the way, we are at the North Fox, or the Fox North Island, I think the correct term is, from Inibuilds. The Fox Islands are two small islands on Lake Michigan in the US, and Inibuilds have done a wonderful job in modelling them. So you can see there's some static scenery around us here at the on the North Island. So let's just go over to this camping area and have a little look at it. So we've got a barbecue here and a seating area and some tents, and there's an X-Cub here. And over the other side you can see another Cub. That's going to be the Savage Cub, isn't it, over there? So let's go and jump inside our Cub and see how we get on, shall we? So I'll go away from the drone camera now, and we'll go and turn the head tracking on. So, as I said, it's not finished yet. So there are elements of the cockpit that aren't done yet. So we're not going to worry too much about things not being quite as we might expect. But there is a working tablet that has some novel functionality. So on the first tab, you get to do things like setting up the payload and the fuel. On the second tab, you get to do things with the engine. So you can obviously start it quickly or go to cold and dark. You can prime it. You can look at the oil and the condition of the engine. And on the next tab, there are some static features you can switch on and off. So you can move the labeling on the wings, you can turn the spats on and off, and the chocks on and off. You can switch between inches and hectopascals on the gauges. You can add or remove the pitot covers. Again, but I think some of the features aren't actually implemented externally just yet. But you can see what features it's going to have. Some of it is, though. So like the covers on the heads on the engine, you can see those change as you change it inside. So if we go and put those covers on with the different coloured covers, then there they go. But yeah, you can have tie downs as well. Obviously, there's no point putting tie downs on while we're sat in a grassy field. So anyway, let's go and press Control and E then. It's worth pointing out that you can see it models smoke, which I think is lovely. And also look at the vibrations. So I'm just going to switch over my sound, by the way. I've got a headset on, but I'm not using it at the moment. There we go. So I'm hearing it through my headset as well. So I think that's fantastic that they've gone that far. So if we open the engine up gently, start rolling through the grass. So everything shakes inside as well, including the tablet, and you can switch that shaking on and off. So let's see how we do with climbing out of here. So full throttle. Let it build up as much speed as we can, so 50 miles an hour just coming up. And climb, climb, climb. It's torque rolling to the left. Well, I imagine there's a bit of P factor in there as well with that. Whereas obviously as soon as we rotated, the right hand side of the propeller is going to grab more air. And it started to corkscrew the aeroplane left. So I had to counter that. So the flight model appears to be there or thereabouts just from those few seconds of flying the aeroplane. So we'll go and have a little look at, this is the Fox North Island we're at the moment. So it's obviously two remote islands. There's the South Island behind us. So you can see there are custom rock features around the edge of the island, and looks like driftwood as well over there in the distance. Get a closer look in a moment. So let's idle back in and come in towards the island. Looks good, doesn't it? Very, very good. Okay, so obviously the Cub is a very, very basic aircraft. There's not much other than your throttle stick and a rudder to control it, which is fine by me. I like aeroplanes that are basic in this way. So we're going to scoot just across. I think you might be able to use this rock as a bit of a marker. If we were to climb, we'll see that runway. There it is, it's cut into the trees, look. We were almost on top of it before we saw it. So the Fox Islands, I've had a quick look around them earlier this evening. They are wonderfully modelled. So just for the purposes of this video, I mean, you can see there's some more rock formations down here. I'm going to put slew on to save us some time, and we're going to scoot across to the South Island, and we'll fly around and have a look from this little aeroplane. Okay, so we're just approaching the major airport on the South Fox Island. So I'm going to do a low pass just to show you the scenery, then we'll go down to the lighthouse. We'll have a look. You can see there's some rock formations in the trees. It's really nicely done. So let's scoot down and go and have a look at this windsock. It's one of the nice things you can do in a Cub, isn't it? Is fly along at 10 feet off the floor quite safely. So we're doing about 55 miles an hour. It's lovely modelling though, isn't it? The whole of the island. Of course, it helps that this aeroplane is very predictable and seems to behave itself. Okay, so we'll keep an eye out. So we're going down towards the end of the island, towards the lighthouse. So we'll follow the beach. And hopefully find the lighthouse down here. Have a look at the aeroplane at low level. Okay, here comes the lighthouse, and there's a breakwater here. Try not to hit it with the aeroplane. So if we pull around this way, and then we can circle and see the lighthouse from this side of the cockpit. There we go. So you've got driftwood and rocks, and it would be interesting to see this with the wind up a little bit, wouldn't it? With some waves. So let's try that. So if we go what do we want to do? Ground level winds, speed. There we go. Of course, the aeroplane is now being thrown around. Oh, and the sim is frozen on us. Isn't it amazing how it chooses its moments to break the immersion? Just as we've got the light and the sea looking great and the ground looking great, the sim decides to throw a spanner at us. Fantastic, isn't it? Right. So rather than choose the enormous runway here, and rather than make you sit and wait for 5 minutes while I fly back across the bay, I'm going to engage slew mode and shortcut our route across to the smaller island. This is the North Island. So we're going to go and scout out where that runway was in the trees. So you can't see it from the side. Except we can, look, we can just see it down here. There's a line broken in the trees. This is going to be fun. I'm trying to figure out which way the wind is going, seeing as we've increased the wind. So the wind, yeah, okay, the wind is coming from our left side. It's trying to weathercock us. So we're going with the wind now, which helps us actually. So there's a rock down here which marks the end of the runway. Oh, we got some white caps on the waves as well. And look at the turbulence throwing this little cub around. So we're going to turn into the wind. And we're going to hopefully get it back down on the ground. No guarantees though, hey. God, doesn't that look real? Hopefully it'll be a little bit sheltered down in here. Yeah, it is. There we go, we're down. This is almost where we left from. We'll just spin the aeroplane around, hopefully. Go and park up next to the X Cub over here. Okay, so I don't think there's a working mixture control yet in the aeroplane, or certainly if that is the mixture control, it's the fuel, but it doesn't seem to want to kill the engine, so we can come in here and just go cold and dark, which will do the same thing. So there we go. Oh, we seem to have smoke billowing out of the engine, so it didn't like that happening, which is kind of interesting. So that was the J3C-65 Cub, which is still a work in progress from classic aircraft simulations. And the scenery you've seen today, look at the propeller blowing in the wind. I did turn the wind up rather dramatically, didn't I? Should we go and turn that off? So if we go and say clear skies now, please. There we go, that's dealt with it. So yes, the scenery you've seen today was the Fox Islands from Inibuilds on Lake Michigan. So you can see they are really quite dramatic, and you get driftwood and rocks and various features like the lighthouse that you saw, and it really is rather wonderful. But yeah, this aeroplane, I'll be looking forward to it when it comes out. I really like the old kind of getting back to basics with flying and just enjoying flight, and stick and rudder flying is right up my street. So it's easy to become lost, I think, sometimes in the avionics and all the systems. And sometimes it's just fun to jump in an aeroplane and go fly. So there we go. So once again, that was the J3C-65 Cub from Classic Aircraft Simulations. I'll keep an eye out for it when it comes out, and I'll let you know. And the scenery was the Fox Islands from Inibuilds. I'll put a link in the notes of the video for them. Okay, see you again soon. Take care.